Hi, I'm Pretti-Frontczak, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what some people call activity matrices. Some people call them activity schedules. They go by lots of different names. And in fact, I was trying to remember when I had first learned about them. So I dug around in my library and I came up with the first edition of the activity-based intervention book by my mentor, Dr. Diane Bricker and Julian Woods. And so I was kind of looking through it, and there it is, an activity schedule. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there are these matrices that talk about how we can deliver instruction during certain activities of a child's daily routine. So they've been around for many, many years. We've thought about different ways to term them, to use them. They've morphed, they've evolved. We've thought about using them for data collection. We've thought about using them as prompts for teams to be on the same page and speak with one voice. So there's all different kinds of ways, from group activity schedules to individual activity schedules to activity schedules that are aligned with state standards to individualized activity schedules that are related to children's IEP goals or IFSP outcomes. So this is a little old school of me. Don't let any of my tech friends see this. But basically, it doesn't matter what you call it or its purpose. But an activity schedule really starts off as some sort of box, a matrix, if you will. And so there's always something that is here on the vertical line and usually something across the top. Sometimes what's across the top, as with most graphs, is sort of time. And so this might be the daily routine or the daily schedule. So if it's for a family, it can be things that the child does from when they wake up till when they go to group care. If it is a child care or if it is Head Start or a preschool classroom, it can be from the moment that the child arrives through whatever the daily routine is for that program. So it could be getting off the bus, which might be arrival. There might be an opening circle. There might be a snack. I'm just using little abbreviations. There might be a center time. Hopefully there is a center time with lots and lots of block play. And then maybe there's outdoor time. Okay, so there's this schedule or this routine. And sometimes just identifying what the routine is really helpful for people who may not have a routine. Lots and lots of young children really need that predictability, and they need to know what's going to come next. So identifying this routine is salient to any type of activity schedule or activity matrix we might make. Then what goes along here also varies. So it depends on if this is for an individual child or for a group of children. But let's take this idea of an individual child within a classroom routine. So what you can put down along this side can be the child's outcomes. So I'm learning this skill, and this skill. In fact, you could do this the exact opposite. You could put the schedule from beginning to end and outcomes across the top. Now, the outcomes in this day and age of having response to intervention, don't anyone get a seizure from having seen a triangle, but the idea is what are children learning that all children of this age are learning, what might be a targeted outcome and what's an individualized outcome. This may or may not be a child who's even on an IEP, but may need more intentional planning to address their needs. So these outcomes, 1, 2, and 3, these can be things that are state standards. They could be things that are addressing something that the child needs because their development has stalled or they're struggling in some way, or it could be highly individualized, something that's going to require very specific instruction by the team. So really what's important is not whether or not it's on the vertical line or the horizontal line, but really that you've thought about this individual child, their needs within the context of the daily routine. Then what becomes important is what we talk about in terms of the intersect. And this is why we now start calling this a matrix, because we start to say, if something by something else, what occurs? So if I'm teaching the outcome of being able to count and it's snack, what is going to happen at that intersect? If rather I'm teaching something like imitating single words and it's arrival, what's going to happen at that intersect? And so it becomes what happens at the intersect of an opportunity and an outcome. When those come together, what are adults going to do? Are the adults going to deliver some sort of instruction? Are the adults going to collect some sort of data? Are the adults going to have a conversation about this is a good time that we might want to think about planning instructions. So sometimes the matrix is something we do at the very beginning of our instructional planning. It could be something that we post in the room itself so that everyone knows what to do when the kid comes to arrival. What are we teaching? When the child comes to snack, what are we teaching? And then it can, of course, evolve into this accountability where we actually then record what the adults did. So we can say with fidelity, we delivered the instruction. And we can record the child's response so that we know if our instruction is having the intended effect. Are we delivering enough dosages? Are we delivering them with fidelity? Are we doing them at the right time of day to get the desired response? So anything can be a teachable moment. Anything could be the child intersecting with another child, a toy, an activity, a routine. The question always becomes, what do we do in that moment? How do we intentionally, mindfully, consciously plan so that that child gets the desired instruction on the desired outcome at the desired moment in time? This doesn't mean we don't still follow children's lead, that we don't capitalize upon teachable moments, but this really ensures a degree of intentionality, and it ensures that across team members, we all know the plan. We know that regardless if I'm at the block area, if I'm at circle time, if I'm outside with the child, that I know what to do, how to deliver instruction at the intersect of when that kid is participating in that routine. So the subsequent portions of this conversation, if you will, about activity schedules will be reviewing more specifically what different schedules can look like, how they can be formed. Again, what's going to be on your up and down versus your across. What's going to be the purpose of the schedule? Is it to get everyone on the same page? Is it to collect data? Is it homeschool communication? And then for many of us, it's what is the role of the itinerant? What is the role of this intervention specialist in the classroom that might be a community partnership? How do we collaborate, and how do we use the activity schedule as a platform for co-creating instructional opportunities, for co-ensuring that instruction is being delivered, and really making sure that we're monitoring children's progress over time so that we then change our instruction as needed. So again, subsequent parts of this conversation will be more detail about where to get other resources, research that's been published about activity schedules. But as I said in the beginning, this has been around for a long time, this tool, if you will, this strategy, this way of getting all team members on the same page so that intentional instruction is delivered.